Hello, welcome to this game review. We'll have a look at a game from the recent Chessodoro simul, and we'll see how Black did not really use his time very efficiently, and he ran out of time basically before the game even began, which didn't give him many chances to calculate the complications once they arose. And in every game, complications will arise, you can be sure of that, so we need to have time for those moments. So it's a 20 plus 10 game. White decided on the Reti, Zuckertortor, whatever it's called, just b3 to develop the bishop. Black opted for a London system type of setup, and already on move 3, Black is down 3 minutes. This is very strange. We should already here kind of decide how we're gonna place the pieces. White's move is quite obvious. We cannot think for 3 minutes in a 20 plus 10 game for so long on move 3. So White played d3, the point being we're going to fianchetto the bishop and play some kind of double fianchetto position. Here Black played e6. One of White's ideas also is knight h4. This takes away the e4 square. And if Black doesn't want to lose this bishop, he should just play h6, which is a standard move in the London system, and Black should be fine, of course. After e6, knight h4, now White gets a little bit of an advantage because he has the bishop pair, and this will be a long-term asset, this bishop on f1, but Black is objectively doing quite fine. But after knight d2, Black has to understand that he is long-term worse because White has the bishop pair and Black should look for dynamics. Already here Black has 14 minutes, which is not a lot considering we started with 20. So the trend is going towards Black losing on time at around move 20, which basically happened. Here Black played bishop d6, which makes sense, g3, e5, so Black takes the center, but he already has only 10 minutes left. Bishop g2, c6, so this is a nice setup against a double fianchetto. Still White is a little bit better long term. Black doesn't really have much play and he can't really do much in the center because whenever he pushes the pawns, the bishops will open up. And White's plan is either c4 or e4 depending on the situation. So White is a bit better. e3 was played. Now knight b7, queen e2. White is staying flexible with castling. Queen c7, Black also doesn't want to castle kingside yet. And e4. And here Black decides to castle queenside, which is a bit of a mistake, because now White can castle kingside and attack on this diagonal. For example, after castling kingside, this h-file is not entirely dangerous. And for example, after king b8, White can take. If Black takes back with the pawn, then after c4, this diagonal will inevitably be opened. After something like d4, we have a Benoni type of position where this king is completely misplaced. It would like to go to g8, but now after rook a8, c1, a3, b4, c5, White's attack will be very strong, while Black doesn't really have much on the h-file. If Black doubles, then h3 can be played, or h4 even. So castling was a mistake, but White did not understand this. He castled queenside as well, which is also a mistake. As mentioned, White should castle kingside and start attacking, but okay. Here queen e5, and at this point Black is sort of fine. The reason being that he can get rid of this bishop by force, and then White's bishop pair will no longer be on the board, and the White will not really have an advantage. King b1, bishop a3. Here White played bishop a1, rook h to e8. This is a fine move defending e5 in advance. At this point Black has 6 minutes, but this is not very good because so far White didn't really ask Black any very serious questions. There was basically nothing to calculate. Black could have played on intuition all of these moves. None of these moves were very complicated, and this is the point of time management. We don't want to use a lot of time on simple decisions. So far all of Black's decisions were quite simple, except for castling queenside. There Black could have fought for a little bit. Now h4 was played, the idea being g4 and h5. White wants to open some stuff on the king side, but this isn't very strong. After king b8, g4, and bishop b4 is a very nice move by black. And after this, black will force the dark squared bishop off the board, which will make this king slightly weak. And white's play on the king side here doesn't really achieve much, especially since this square is weakened. So h5 was played nonetheless, gh, but at this point black didn't really have to react too much to this. He could identify this weak square and start going there, and a very standard motive is knight to f8, defending the pawn with the knight to go here, and also just threatening to go here and here at the right moment. Of course, bishop c3 will be played first. So gh, g5, knight g8, and here again black fought for 1 minute even though he has only 4, but black only has basically 2 moves. It's either knight h7 or knight g8. This is not possible because of f3, and black loses a piece. So whether or not we go here or here, this isn't entirely important. Either way, the knight will go to g6 and black will be fine. White took here, and here bishop c3 was played, which simply blunders a pawn, the central pawn, after which black is close to lost. Here black is doing very well after developing the piece from g8 to g6 to f4, and white doesn't really have enough compensation for this f4 square. The bishop pair is not exactly felt because this bishop can be exchanged, and now d5 is also defended. But after bishop c3, now white takes the free pawn, and at this point black's position is quite bad, but he makes it worse with knight b6, after which this pawn also drops, and at this point white is 2 pawns up, and only the conversion stage is left, and at this point there's not much to save black. But okay, c3, queen d7, and a few moves later black took on h8. Maybe it was a little bit better to keep the 8th rank solid and secure, but still after something like this and c4 for example, not allowing knight d5, white should be winning since he has 2 pawns up. But after rook h8, at this point black doesn't really have counterplay, all of his pieces are passive, and after this white simplifies into a pawn endgame by bringing his knight to c4, which happened in the game, and from here the rest of the game is quite simple. So black played quite well in the opening, but it was way too slow. We cannot think on moves like bishop f5 for 2 minutes. We should just decide, is it bishop f5, bishop g4? There's no move that is objectively a lot better than the other. We should just decide on a system and not spend a minute for each move. For example, here 3 minutes. Here it's not really practical, and later when problems arose, for example here, already black had 3 minutes and he didn't have time to calculate that the pawn is hanging.